Last time, I worked on the Symbiote Spider-Man figure from the 2-pack. It is my second time working on Symbiote Spider-Man. I challenged myself to make it even better, and I think I did it. Check it out if you haven't already. With Loki Season 2 coming out, I thought it would be a good time to work on this classic Loki figure. I've already done Loki, Sylvie, and He Who Remains. I didn't get the newer Loki with the Tesseract. It is quite pricey, and the figure looks very similar to the original one, and I can live without the Tesseract. This classic Loki is nicely sculpted, but just like the other Disney Plus Loki figures, the colors just look off. Let's deconstruct this figure. There's an FAQ on the paint and brushes I use in the description box below. The yellow on classic Loki is very bright and has a green tint to it. It kinda looks like he climbed out of a yellow highlighter and now he's radioactive. A mango yellow would look much better on this figure. The other thing I'm not a big fan of is his helmet. It has that same green tint on it. In the show, it's more of a metallic gold. The helmet here does not look metallic and looks very lightweight. I do appreciate that they added a bit of dirt onto the outfit, giving the suit a bit of texture. I'm very impressed by the faces, especially the smiling face. They totally capture Richard E. Grant's likeness. And unlike Tom Holland's smiling face, this one actually looks believable. The serious face is not as good. It totally gets overshadowed by the smiling one in my opinion. This figure has potential to be awesome. The sculpt looks good, the face looks great, the effect pieces are very cool. It is overall pretty screen accurate. It just needs some minor color adjustments. So... Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. I like making things out of paper, and I like making things cooler. Especially my figures. Sometimes figures don't look all that screen accurate. All they need is a bit of touch up here and there to unleash their hidden potential. I also love using everyday tools and materials to recreate iconic scenes from my figures, so they can shine on my display. Subscribe to my channel and join my DIY adventure as I ask myself the same question every week. Can I make it? Let's work on the yellow first. I have this yellow paint that seems to be the right shade, but it is very sheer. Okay, it is not sticking to the plastic well at all. I can kinda see the paint just being pushed around on the surface. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna apply a very thin coat of yellow over the plastic and let it fully dry. Then slowly build it up until I get the color I want. It is gonna take a couple of layers to build up the intensity. Okay, here's what the yellow looks like now. It no longer has that green tint, but the overall color still looks fake. So let's add some shading to give it a bit more realism. Starting with the cape. I'm going to use this warm tone brown to make it look a bit dirtier, and it will also further warms up the yellow. Okay, I like how the color looks. Let me do the same to the rest of the outfit. I can use this brown color to age the outfit too. Alright, with that done, it is time to work on the texture. According to the referenced images, classic Loki's outfit kinda has this rubbery texture. There's a bit of a shine to it. Not a high shine, more like a raincoat shine. So I'm gonna use the matte varnish and go over the upper torso, part of his belt, his gloves and his boots with it. I'm gonna leave the cape as is so it'll look more cloth-like. Alright, just gotta wait for it to dry. The yellow still looks very flat. I need to emphasize the shadows a bit more. So let me go over the edges with the brown. and create some fake shadows with it. I'm gonna add even more brown to the shoes, so it looks like classic Loki has been roaming for centuries. I love that they took the fan theory where he pretended to be a debris out in space during the Thanos attack, and developed it further and actually create this really fascinating backstory for classic Loki. Next, I'm gonna see if I can make the cape look even better. I'm gonna mix a bit of gold into the yellow to make it a bit shinier, and apply a thin coat of it over the cape. The yellow still doesn't look that good to me. It still looks like the same shade of yellow even though there are layers of paint on the figure at this point. Let me try adding a different yellow. I mix a bit of gloss medium into this lighter shade of yellow. This should brighten up the color while keeping that semi-glossy finish. I hope this works. Okay, I don't know if it worked. My eyes have gotten used to the yellow. I gotta move on. Let me quickly dust a thin coat of green, not to change the color, but to mattify the texture, to make it a bit more cloth-like. Here are classic Loki's heads. I really like the smiling face, but that greenish yellow has gotta go. I'm gonna repeat what I've done to the body to keep the color consistent. First with a few coats of yellow to evenly cover up the original greenish yellow. Then a few coats of gold over the helmet to warm up the color. I should have sanded the helmet. This material is very slippery. The paint isn't really sticking to it. So I gotta do one thin coat at a time to build up the intensity, and make sure I'm not rubbing the underlayer off. While the gold is drying, I'm gonna add some shading with the brown. Gotta emphasize those folds. And a bit of brown in the helmet too, so it doesn't look squeaky clean and brand new. I want that tarnished gold look. Last but not least, the face. It's actually pretty good, but the skin color is a bit grayish or dull. I'm gonna brighten it up slightly and add a bit of red to give the flesh tone a bit more color. And here it is. Oh man, this is much better. The faces didn't change much, but the helmet looks so much more solid and believable now. The original colors look so fake and light. I love this smiling head so much. Kudos to Hasbro for nailing the likeness. Before I put the head back on, let me quickly work on the other pair of hands. I've already painted over the gloves for the yellow. I'm adding a bit of a darker green to the magic effect. It is very well sculpted, but it's hard to see the details. So darkening certain parts will bring out the details, and it will make it look like the energy is building up. Alright, here's the finished figure. The shade of yellow is so much better. It no longer looks radioactive, and the texture looks so much more believable and realistic now. It looks like an actual costume you can buy and wear. I have to say though, the helmet may be a touch too gold. In the show, the helmet's more of a yellow gold. I actually tried doing it to the helmet on the non-smiling head, but it didn't work, so I made it gold again. This is an interesting figure. I actually really like this. It looks like a high-end collectible figure now. It did take longer than expected to get here, because my yellow paint is very sheer, but I can't argue with the result. That smiling face makes posing so much fun. Figures with blank expressions can't always pull off dynamic poses because they sometimes look bored. But classic Loki here just looks like he's having a blast. This figure totally captures the vibe of God of Mischief. The cape does limit the legs quite a bit, but posing is still quite fun, especially with those effect pieces. It's amazing that a character that was kinda only there for one episode can be so memorable. Alright, let's end this for the photo shoot. Look at that! This figure looks quite lifelike. I think it's partly due to the more realistic body proportions. I believe that's also why the Spider-Man 3-pack doesn't look that cohesive, because Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man are very muscular, but the Tobey figure lacks any source of muscle definition. It would be nice if Hasbro releases figures with more realistic proportions like classic Loki. I didn't have to do too much to make the poses look good. He just poses like a real person. And speaking of real, I can't stop admiring this face. Look at all the details. You can see all the wrinkles and lines on the face. And I also love these hands. I love the way the fingers poke through the magic effects. These hands would look really good on a magic user like Wanda too. I also hope they release Kid Loki and Alligator Loki as well. Otherwise, classic Loki is gonna be lonely. He already lost his brother. He needs his Loki variants. My Loki and Sylvie are busy fighting each other at the Citadel with He Who Remains, so classic Loki can't really join them. If I had more space, I would make Eliath. That would be a really awesome display, but I can't justify making a huge display just for one figure. But if they do release Kid Loki and Alligator Loki, I would do it. That would be an epic display. Alright, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Give it a like if you're happy with this custom as well. This was very satisfying for me. I love it when I elevate a somewhat forgettable figure into an awesome one. Don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this. And as always, stay inspired and I'll see you next week. I can make it, so can you.